You also showed up on my timeline, Chris, over the last couple days,
fault.
courtesy of Austin Rivers, saying that he knows of 30 NBA players or that could make the NFL Pro Bowl or stardom or something like that. You know, to paraphrase, that there's an NBA to NFL pipeline that would be far more successful than the other way around. And he set you off a little bit, Chris. Like what?
No. He gave me an alley-oop. Part of the basketball fun. No, it's just
Nice.
like it is that time of year where there's nothing to talk about, and I get home, yesterday dealing with, being a dad of 3 and all that stuff, and I see this thing and I read the headline and I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch the video, like, because I don't want to get upset. Like, that wasn't me upset, that was me animated. Like, I'm really animated about a topic like this because it's fun, because we've talked about it before. Like, I've wondered, I really have thought about this, and I'm not saying they aren't better athletes. They're 10 times the athletes in a lot of cases. Like, those guys are incredible. I think we're the grunt work guys largely, but we are specialized. You know what I mean? Just like they are. And I think it's like kind of naive to think that you're going to walk into a sport that you haven't been doing. Maybe you played in high school, but that you haven't been doing relative to somebody who's been doing the same athletic repetition over decades, tens of thousands of times. And you're going to be able to just walk in and get the same feel for the game. Like, I don't think there's a single NFL player that could play in the NBA. You guys are too skilled. It's not even about height, because I don't think any 6'10" wing guys are projected as football players. What we're talking about is like those 6'3" to 6'6" guys, right? Really explosive guys. I don't really think about a big 6'8" red zone target. I don't think about guys becoming offensive tackles. I think there's a list of maybe 7 to 8 guys that I would put on my NFL watch list.
Who's that?
Well, I'm working on it right now.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards, number 1. I think he could play wide receiver and go for 1,000 yards next year. Like, I just think he's kind of a rare field kind of athlete. He's like a special athlete. I'd say Russell Westbrook would be one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make a decision on Josh Hart. I'm trying to make a decision on OG Anunoby. I'm trying to make. I'm scouting people like.
I love this.
Hold on. The guy named Precious on the Knicks.
Precious Achua. Yeah.
I'm like looking at his tape, bro. Like, I'm taking this serious, Austin Rivers, dude. I'm taking it. You gave me something to do. I was bored. And now I'm looking at combine numbers. I just think it's kind of naive to discount the feel of a game, right? And then we haven't even gotten to the collisions. You want me to be animated, I'll get animated about training camp, because like Richard Jefferson responded to me yesterday. It took me out of context a little bit, but that's my guy. And he was like, well, I forget what he said, but the most important part is what I said. And what I said was, it's really hard to just say because a guy's athletic enough, he could make the NFL. Making the NFL is not just making a team. It's the process that goes into making a team and then staying on a team. We're not talking about like you could make training camp. Sure. Like we've taken a look at like all types of athletes. NFL scouts are scouting basketball players in other sports every year. Right. There have been college basketball players who have come to play football. It just doesn't happen at a high enough click to think it's automatic, is all I'm saying. And 30, that's a lot of guys, dude.
It is.
I challenge you to find 30 guys. I could find 5 to 7, I think, that I would feel like if you gave them a year. Russell Westbrook, I don't know if I mentioned him.
You did. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. I don't know why I think Jaylen Brown's really explosive. Is he really explosive?
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad one,
you
too.
You said P.J. Tucker, too, Chris, the other day, right?
I just like P.J. Tucker. I think P.J. Tucker's a badass, and I'd like to make him a D lineman.
What would Achua play? What are you seeing out of him? Because I'd love to hear what the smack talk from a secondary would be if a guy named Precious goes over the middle. You know what I mean? Like that would be.
I don't think so. I think I'm more looking at him as like a blocking tight end or an edge player. The problem is like it's just a different kind of athleticism. It's like fast twitch. To the 10th degree, like our plays are 3-4 seconds long. They're running up and down the court. You know, there's some guys that have that burst that you see them and you're like, yo, I saw that guy attack the rim. I think he might be able to play safety, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as easy as people think. And I also think this, like, football players get calloused over time. And I don't mean that literally, like we have calluses all over, but Adrian Peterson felt like he had been calloused over 20 years, like hitting him.
Well,
you know, like it is a different conditioning. And I didn't realize it when I played, but when I retired, looking back at it, I'm like, that is the most violent, unimaginable job. And I cannot believe I did it for a long time. I don't see how somebody would just walk off the court and then be able to do that. Like, are there raw athletes that might be good enough? But you could say the same thing about the NFL. Like, if you gave Myles Garrett a basketball since he was 4 years old, put him in AAU camps and said, this is what you're going to do. There's no football for this guy who's a ball of muscle. I think maybe he could play in the NBA.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, he's
we have Devin Funchess.
He's crossover dribbling before snaps, Myles Garrett already. You know, the way I went with it, Chris, is I went in a different direction, saying an NBA player going to the NFL, like, good luck joining a league where you don't get traded just because you've asked for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well,
best of luck with that one. Like, you could count. I mean, what's the larger number? Larger number being what? NBA players that can make the NFL, or NFL players who actually in real life have been traded because they've asked for it? You know what I mean?
That's funny. That's really funny.
I mean,
I might take the
NBA players.
I might take the NBA players on that, because it just doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Like, the player empowerment thing is totally different. Like, you know, I was being funny kind of going through training camp. Like, I hope Austin Rivers didn't see it as like, oh, he hates me. Like, this is, I would argue with Austin Rivers like this in a locker room. This is like a tailor-made locker room argument. But the fact of the matter is it's just too big of a leap of logic. It really is to think somebody could just walk in. And the training camp thing's totally true. 8 a.m., 100 degrees, practicing in a bowl somewhere in the deep South. And, you know, like, terrible. You're sweating profusely the minute you walk out there. Your breakfast is right here because you just ate, and it's inside run. And you get a bruise on your forehead, and it stays there the whole camp. And there's some little coach who's half your size, and he's screaming at you, calling you names. You know, if
then you go back to your dorm room with a broken air conditioner,
and then you go back to like the Hyatt or something. The Hyatt might be nice, but like I'm talking about, then you go back to the Holiday Inn. We stayed at the Cavalier Inn for 6 weeks. 6 weeks with Al Groh, a Parcells Tree guy, had us in an outdoor hallway hotel for 6 weeks. Couldn't see anybody. And we're doing Oklahoma drills in the lower bowl. I'll never forget this, man. I'll never forget this. We were doing Oklahoma drills over and over again. It's 100. Now it's 110 degrees. Okay. And there was this guy that caught a full body cramp, and he's laying on the ground. It was like the 10th Oklahoma drill. And I'm not going to name him, but he's one of my college teammates. He's on the ground and he's writhing in pain. And this coach comes over, one of the assistant coaches, starts cussing him out, yelling at him over on top of him, and then falls over and catches a full body cramp himself.
the coach caught a cramp,
and these
too?
guys are both on the ground, all right? And then after practice, they're sharing their IV. They're getting IVs next to each other in the training room. It's like, I mean, it's just like that stuff doesn't, the intensity of a football experience, and only football players who played in college and beyond know this. It can be demeaning. I've heard people coaches say things to players that would never fly in the NBA, not because they're badasses. NBA guys are tough, physical badasses.
Sure.
But it is a differently structured league, and it's a different sport.
No doubt. So, but was there a moment that subsided and everybody starts laughing at the coach who's yelling at the player for?
Yeah, that's another thing about football humor. Like, you find humor in a lot of things. I told another story in the wake of this where it was like, this is a professional practice, man. And I'm not trying to act like I'm a badass or anything, but we were in the coal mines for a while relative to the NBA. Like, it was a different world. Like, guy got his rib broke, punctured his lung or something. Like, it was bad enough where they needed to call the ambulance, and they moved the drill. They moved the drill so the ambulance could drive on the field.
Unbelievable.
And we're doing another drill. And the guy's like, he'll be okay. He's just over there, like, whatever. I'm like, bro, this is insanity. And you get so conditioned and to it being normal. Yep. And that's the thing that, like, it's you cannot understand that, Austin Rivers. Respectfully, you can't understand how normal the discomfort is in the NFL.
Dude, I love our chats, man. I missed them. I'm glad you had 20 minutes to do this one. So the pod, where are we with the pod? What do you got? What's up?
Oh, I have
Who's on?
Denard Wilson coming on today.
Okay, that would have been great if you're like, I've got LeBron James, and you start naming all these different NBA players.
I'm going to tell LeBron James he sucks and all.
Suck it up, LeBron.
And here I am worried because this thing made news. It's got like 3 million views on Twitter. My brother texted me, he's like, 3 million views. I'm like, what happened? Like, I wrote that thing down on a Post-it note and ran upstairs and did it. And now I'm worried that, like, LeBron James saw it and thinks I'm an asshole. I respect you guys, but what I'm saying is it's just a different world, man.
Yep. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.